Welcome to the 2022 New Jersey Self-Direction Conference on self-direction in real life, in real time. And I want to thank our two guests, Anthony Vasquez and Steve Gruzlovic, for joining us. They were so generous to spend some time with me and with you talking about their lives in self-direction in real life and in real time, and what their thoughts are about it. So, so Anthony, let's just go ahead and let's just start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Go ahead.
My name is Anthony Vasquez. I'm 33 years old. I live in Trenton, New Jersey. I was born in Trenton, New Jersey. I'm diagnosed with spastic cerebral palsy, and I've been self-directing since 2007. And I'm very very well spoken, and I'm glad that I can give everybody my experience doing this for so many years.
I think Steve, how about you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself too?
So hi everyone. My name's Steve Gruzlovic. I'm from Robbinsville, New Jersey, which is in Mercer County. Actually, not too far from Anthony. I have spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy. I'm a permanent wheelchair user, and I, serve several roles. I'm a legislative, business and disability consultant, and I help families use self-direction principles and advise businesses and do a whole bunch of other organizational tasks. Yeah, and I've been self-directing probably since I was 18 years old. I'm 32.
All right. So you both have shared with me already how long you have been self-directing your services. Tell me a little bit, can you describe what self-direction looks like for you now? Like how are you self-directing? What services do you self-direct? Just tell us a little bit more about that.
I'll go first.
Sure.
Well, I've been I've been getting home health aid help since around that time. And everything, like with COVID, has slowed everything down, but I'm still doing as much as I possibly can. And I've been using the services for lots of things, for searching for a job, and I went to college for 4 years for IT technology and cybersecurity diagnostics. So, and it's very liberating because I get to do a lot of things on my own without assistance from my mom or anything like that. I can just go do whatever I want, and hang out with friends and such. So it's very good.
Yeah, I think having a disability overall, once you're finally able to accept that it's not going to change, I think self-direction and using self-directing principles is probably one of the most liberating things you can do for yourself, because it's all about personal choice of what the individual wants. I get to choose who I have help me in my home. I get to choose what program they're under. I get to negotiate with them as far as like how much they're paid. You know, and I get to make sure that they're well taken care of too. You know, and I get to choose what services I like to use. I get to choose what transportation I like to use, or you know, what accessible equipment I want in my house to help me. I get to make choices of what I get to do with my day. You know, so I think yes. When you have to live on Medicaid programs, yes, there are a lot of rules and regulations that you have to follow. But by using self-directing principles, you can make your life a little bit easier and a little bit more free and as independent as possible.
Yes. And for me, like going to school, it would have been a little difficult for my mom to like physically take me because number one, she works, and like number two, I'm a little bit heavy for her. So somebody that can uh like physically lift me up and be able to um take me wherever I have to go, whether it's school or the store or anything like that, is great. And you could explain to them, I like things this way, I don't like it that way, or um just you could give them your point of view of how you like everything done.
There, was there a time before you were actually self-directing your services, or have you always been self-directing your services?
I always like at first I didn't when I first got out of high school, like I didn't understand how everything worked. And then so like they sat down with me and like explained to me how everything worked. And then once I got the hang of it, I did everything on my own.
Yeah, they're before I found out about self-direction and the principles of self-direction and how you could really use it to, change your life. I had a really difficult life. I wasn't independent. I was dependent on others.
Yeah, me too.
I lived in a house that was not accessible. You know, I had a lot of issues. It caused a lot of family tension. And here I am. I go to college, 8 hours away from my house, and then all of a sudden I go home, and you feel very trapped and confined. So I dealt with that for a really, really long time. And then I eventually went to an independent living center who helped me find an apartment and find a job. And I've been living on my own ever since. But before I found self-direction, it was very difficult. And we are by no means saying that this is the end all be all and this is the program that you use for everybody and that this is easy. When you first start this and you set this up, this is not easy at all. There are a lot of difficult decisions that have to be made. But the good part about self-direction is, let's say you make a decision that doesn't work for you or your family. You have the ability to change it without a lot of interference. If you choose to go another route, I know several families go with guardianship, but if you choose to go with guardianship and you want to change something, it's very difficult. And it takes years. And I help families that go both ways, either guardianship or self-direction. But I'm a firm believer that 98% of the population doesn't need guardianship.
I agree.
If you use self-direction principles, you should be able to, create an environment and create a life that is very fulfilling for the individual that you're helping to support.
I agree.
And I'm not here to judge anyone or tell anyone what to do, because at the end of the day, everybody has to live their own life, right? But if you really want the most productive life for your family member, you have to have the freedom to make choices and change them when it goes wrong.
Yeah. And, it's okay to make mistakes because, nobody in this world is perfect. So if you make a couple mistakes, don't sweat it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. If you don't make mistakes, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
If you don't realize that, hey, something didn't work out so well, or there may be another option, you're not trying hard enough, honestly.
That kind of it makes me think about something you had said earlier, Steve, when we were talking. You talked about how, oftentimes people with disabilities, the people around them who care and love them, always want to put them like, I don't know, like wrap them in plastic or, put them in bubble wrap. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I am by no means saying that we need to let people go out and play in the street and go out and run out on their own.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a concept called dignity of risk, and it's a part of educating an individual and taking it step by step so that they're able to do things more independently. For instance, if they want to cross the street, okay, you don't just let them go out there and cross the street, but you take them step by step. Okay, this is how you get off the porch, and this is how you go towards the grass, and this is how you get off the curb. And when you go to cross the street, look both ways and make sure a car's not going to hit you. But if you take things and break it down into smaller pieces, you'd be amazed how much people can attain and the independent living skills that they can gain by doing that. But it does take a lot of trial and error. As parents and families, we don't want to let our loved ones fail. But I think some of the most valuable life lessons have been learned from individual failures.
Exactly.
And yes, it's painful, but as long as you're there to support them and pick them up, then it's fine. I'm by no means saying, okay, go out and put them out there and leave them by themselves and see what they do. No, it has to be done in a constructed, well thought out and planned way.
Yeah, I agree. And what you said, Javier, about how some people feel like they want to wrap their loved ones in plastic. Well, I understand where you're coming from because, like, there's a stigma that if you're handicapped in any way, that you basically don't know what you're doing, and that's definitely not true because we know what we're doing. We just might need a little bit of help, and that stigma needs to stop. And people need to realize that we want to live our lives to the fullest, just like everyone else. Yeah. That we deserve a chance, just like everybody else. And I believe that with self-help services and things like that, slowly but surely, I believe that stigma is going to change.
Yeah, and your vision for your child or your loved one might not be their actual vision for their life.
Yeah,
and you have to wrestle and grapple with that as an individual. And the minute that we start moving towards, okay, what is going to be the best determinant for their life and what they want, you know, the easier it's going to be, and the happier everybody in the family is going to be. I'm not saying that you should go and let them walk on a tightrope with the Walendas, okay? But they may enjoy something about that production, like lighting or you know, coordinating the stunt or doing marketing or press release. But you know, you don't, I don't want families to be dream crushers, because that happens a lot.
You said dream crushers? Is that what
Yeah.
you said? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want families to be dream killers. Because you know what, they might not be able to engage in some sort of physical or intellectual activity, but there may be some ways around it that you could see that they could enjoy and gain some value out of it.
Right.
You know, I think that's important.
And as for me, I kind of knew in high school that I always wanted to do something that had to do with computers because I've always loved technology. And I remember years ago, I told my high school teacher, you know, I want to do something with computers. And she basically told me that I couldn't do it because, you know, my hands are not too good. But when people tell you things like that, you have to be determined. Be like, I don't really care what people say. You know, I'm gonna do it anyway. And that was my attitude. And as of now, as a side job, I repair computers and cell phones and things like that from home.
Yeah. People often ask me, how can I make my child or my sibling or my relative more independent? I think the first thing is to build resiliency. That's important.
Yeah.
Because you know, I enjoy proving people wrong. I get a thrill out of it.
Right.
You know, because I've had so many people tell me no in my life, no, you can't do that. And then when I'm able to do it, it might not be the way that they intended for me to do it, but I can still accomplish whatever they wanted me to do. You know, and we have to look at things from a different framework. A lot of times, you know.
What would you say? What would you guys say to people who's like, well, you know, well, Anthony and Steve, clearly you guys can articulate what you want. You know, people understand you when you speak. You know, Mike, you know, that's not the case with lots of people who have, you know, different disabilities, and you know they're not, self-direction can't possibly be for them. What do you have to say about that?
Well, they might not be able to do certain things, but still you have to um put them in situations that they're gonna be able to live their life as best as possible. That's the most important thing. Because
Yeah.
because whether you're a parent or a loved one, you know, you take care of them. You want them to live their life as best as possible. So they might not be able to articulate things or understand what's going on, but just figure it out as you go type of thing. And I think that is the best way to do it.
Yeah, just because your loved one or individual can't articulate their point of view in a typical way, doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have a point of view that they'd like to express. They might just express it differently. And the people that are going to be around them, supporting them, need to be able to understand that. Just you know, gone are the days when people can't communicate, and because they can't communicate, they no longer have a choice. You still have a choice. There's 100 different adaptive ways that somebody could communicate. So I'm not really too fond of people who say, oh, they can't communicate, so they must not have an opinion. You know, because they do have an opinion, and it's probably stronger than most of ours.
Yeah, they
I agree.
they just don't give them the chance
Yeah.
to speak for themselves. They just basically put them in a corner and just leave them there, and like don't let them express themselves.
Yeah. Um, so you guys talked about self-direction being liberating. Not, it doesn't happen overnight. Like you don't find all the answers overnight. Um, so that makes me think about, you know, in terms of your experience, what has been the hardest part of self-directing your about self-directing your service? What has been the hardest part? And what support have you received or have you developed over time to help you self-direct the way you want to self-direct?
I'll go first. Well, for me, the hardest thing for me was looking for somebody that was gonna, be able to fulfill my needs, because not everybody's gonna be able to do that.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
and sometimes the person that you're working with might think that they'll be able to help you, but it turns out that one way or another they're not able to help you. So you just that's been the hardest part for me, is like having to figure out, is this gonna work out or not? Um because a couple times it has happened to me that certain situations happen, and it doesn't work out.
I think you're referring to what you had shared with me previously, like when you invite somebody to come and work for you, it requires you have to be you're very vulnerable, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry, you have to be very vulnerable when you hire somebody because they have to help you in really intimate ways. So you had shared with me, that's a really hard part about it, and having to experience that and go through that.
Yeah, because a lot of times, since it's so intimate, not every person wants to help you
Mm.
in that situation. So that's the part that, like, you have to see if it's gonna work out. Because if they're not gonna be able to help you in that situation, then it serves no purpose.
What, Steve, in terms of you, I mean, so I guess, I think, Anthony was talking about hiring people and how, that, kind of that being vulnerable that way is a really hard part. What other things, in terms of self-direction have been challenging, or would you say were one of the hardest parts for you?
I think I agree with Anthony. The hiring of people to help you and support you is very, very difficult. They help you with some of those intimate aspects of your life.
Mhm.
They're involved in your life on an everyday basis. And for whatever reason, when they decide to leave, for whatever reason, it makes it very difficult to form just general relationships in your life as well.
Hmm.
I also think some of the regulations that we have to follow within state programs,
Mhm. That's right.
as far as how we could spend the budget for our needs, and how and what we can pay for, make it really difficult to self-direct as well. And the ways in which they have to do it are kind of quirky, and not your average ways. Like if you need a home modification, it's really difficult.
Yes.
Um, or if you need transportation, it's extremely difficult. These are things that people shouldn't have to think about, but unfortunately, because we're disabled, we have to. So that makes it kind of difficult. I understand there's a need for safety, policy, and procedure and regulation, But I really do think, when it comes to self-direction, the purpose of a self-directed life is to determine what you need and spend the budget how you see fit. And as long as you're getting your needs met, within reason, it shouldn't matter how you get the job done.
Yes.
Can stand in the
So you-
way.
so-
What
so
about in
so
terms of
that's-
decisions and planning? Do you have people around you or loved ones around you that help you make decisions or consider, how to plan and run your services?
Yeah, I have I don't do this alone. I could pretty much make a lot of the decisions myself. But I'm surrounded by a team of people. I have, a great support coordinator. I think that's really key and that's vital. I think it's also very important to have financial planning, especially as you get older in life.
Mhm.
I also think it's important that you acquire some legal representation sometimes, because they don't make this life easy. And I have tremendous friends that are there, for me to talk to if I have a problem or a situation that I can, speak with them about. But for the most part, I can make the decision myself. But it's always nice to have those people to fall back on and kind of guide me.
Yeah,
Anthony?
that's true what he's saying, because I've found out through these past couple of years that things that I used to be able to do are a little bit difficult for me now that I'm a little bit older. So that part, I agree that as you age, you're possibly gonna need more help than you did before. So that's good to keep that there just in case,
Yeah, and I found that for mine and Anthony's case, I don't know about Anthony, but for people with cerebral palsy, we're not supposed to decline like typical other disorders would. We're supposed to pretty much plateau and then maintain throughout our life. But I find that as I get older, yeah, I do need a little bit more help with things.
Yeah, me too.
And that becomes difficult to acquire the services when there is so much red tape in place.
Yeah, and it's like basically when you need those things, it's like going through a maze.
Yeah,
And that's the
That's-
hard
that-
part.
I know a lot of people that are not in the service system, but they could use services, but they would rather just sit at home and suffer, which I don't like. But they say I don't want to go through the regulation because it's too hard.
That kind of goes to my next question that I was going to ask you guys is like, if for all the people, for all the other, self-advocates or people who are, who have developmental disabilities out there who might be listening, what would you say to them right now in terms about self-direction?
That is a very, very, very hard process, but just keep the faith and hang in there. That as the years go by, it'll be much easier.
Yeah, and it is a very challenging endeavor, but nothing in life that was ever rewarding didn't come without a challenge. So it is very difficult. There are times when you do get low and do get depressed, but if you could just keep the faith and realize that it is going to get better, and you are going to be able to make your own choices. It makes it a lot easier.
Go ahead, Anthony.
For me, that was a problem for me, that I would get a little depressed because I just I wanted everything done fast, but as I've gotten older, I've learned to, like, take your time, take it slow, and don't give up whatever you do.
If you're disabled and not patient, you're in for a world of trouble because you're going to learn patience or you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
So, what are your? Tell me a little bit about what your next goals are in life, and how are you utilizing self-direction, both in terms of paid services and the non-paid stuff, and your natural supports and things like that. What steps are you taking in your life?
Well, for me, my ultimate dream in my life is to basically open my own computer shop and make my income through there, and doing anything that has to do with technology, because it's what I love. It, I'm great at it. So, um, but what I do to for the future is, right now I repair computers for people from home, and I get paid for it. And I speak two languages. I speak English and Spanish, so I can help people that speak both languages. So it helps me with my communication skills better.
Yeah, I think my goals for the future is to see the workability bill be implemented and become a reality for people, and to open the floodgates to competitive employment. I plan to continue to consult for businesses and legislature and families. I'm going to attach my contact information to this presentation, so if anybody has any questions, I know we have a short time for questions at the end of this thing, but please feel free to reach out and contact me, because I want to help as many people as I can. Because I've been through it. It's very difficult, and if you go through it alone, it's going to be very, very hard. But eventually want to own my own home, and not have to rent, and and continue to live as independent of life as I possibly can.
That's fantastic, and I would. Anthony, go ahead.
I same thing. I'll leave my information if anybody want to ask me questions. That's totally fine with me. And I think that it's a good thing that we're doing this, because I wish that somebody was around to tell me what to look out for when I was first starting to do this.
Yeah.
And not feel so confused and kind of frightened. That I wish that somebody was there to, like, basically tell me what to expect. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do.
Yeah, we're here to be a guiding light for others. We're not necessarily here to tell you what to do with your life. We don't want to do that. But if we could guide you in the right direction to where you want to go, that would be wonderful.
Well, I've certainly, every time I talk to both of you, I always learn something, and I appreciate it very much. It enriches my life just as a person. It enriches my life as a professional, just to know you guys, and to know that we really are all in this together when it comes to making self-direction a reality for people, but just kind of making life better for everyone, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I want to thank you. Oh, just one. Is there any additional word that you want to share?
Well, to anybody that wants to be a self advocate, my last word for you is keep the faith, hang in there, don't give up. No matter what happens in life, don't give up because you're your own champion and you know your abilities and just don't give up, don't tap out, basically.
Yeah, I've been successful in this life because I've done things differently. I went against what the conventional society says. So when one door closes, I kick another one down. You know, you have to really keep the spirit. That's really important. Keeping the spirit and keeping the faith and realizing that it will get better. And that you know you best. So don't let anybody tell you no or that you can't do it. Because if I listen to all those people that told me that I couldn't do something, I wouldn't be where I am now.
That goes for me too.
Well, thanks again, Anthony and Steve. Again, everybody, this is Anthony Vasquez and Steve Gruzlovic, who have we spent a little time with today. Their information is going to be in the chat. They welcome any questions, and I thank you for joining us, everybody, and we look forward to working with all of you in the future.
Yeah, and if people have a longer question or a personal question they would like to ask, if they could just leave their information in the chat, Anthony and myself would be more than happy to respond to them.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
It's a pleasure being here. Bye-bye.